our final debate for the IGC 2025 focuses on all retail spot gold investment products should be regulated. The moderator for this is Mr. Sunil Kashyap, Director FinMet. The speakers for the ones who want the regulation are Mr. Keyur Shah, CEO Precious Metals Business for Muthoot Pappachan Group. Mr. Ajit Mauskar is the Director of World Gold Council. Speaking against all guns blazing, our only female panelist speaking against is Ms. Rhea Chaterji, Director and Head of Consumer Retail, SafeGold India. I leave this session with our sessions chair, Mr. Sunil Kashyap.
Thank you. So we've kept the best for last, I think. I would start the debate by saying that our chief guest today actually mentioned something which is interesting, saying, why does it need to be regulated? He mentioned himself, saying, why are you talking about regulation? So while it seems that this should be natural, I think it is a valid point, a thought-provoking point, saying, why do you need to regulate spot retail investment? So keeping that in mind, let's start with the foresight first. And maybe what we'll do is we'll start with Ajit. Please, Ajit, go ahead.
Sure. Thanks, Sunil, and thanks, Vatsa, for inviting us. Interesting debate, last one, and I'm actually overwhelmed with the number of attendees for the last session on the second day of IGC. So great job. Quick one, yes, obviously being a retail product, it definitely needs to be regulated, but light touch. And I assume that we are talking about digital gold and products like those. They definitely have to be regulated, but with a light touch. It should not happen that the regulations are such that the product gets killed. And we have done a little bit of a survey. World Gold Council did a survey in which we found that, surprisingly, 60% of the respondents believed that digital gold in India is regulated. And when we are talking about retail level, it's like 100 rupees, 200 rupees, that kind of an investment comes in. And people think that it is regulated, which is not currently. So for that reason, to build confidence in the retail investor, it has to be regulated. A light touch regulations should do the job. And we have seen in the past, especially in the equity markets, that when you have regulations, the market just explodes. That much confidence gets built into it. So I'll just stop at this with the remarks. Okay.
Maybe I'll move to Rhea, and then we'll come back. Go ahead.
I think you were saying earlier that the question that had very pertinently been brought up earlier today as well, and I think in several of the previous sessions, is really, what is the role of regulation and what is the role of a regulator when we're looking at products, especially in our industry? And to my mind, if you really look at it, and here we're not being very generalistic or talking even just about digital gold, we're talking about retail spot gold investment, right? Which, if you think about it, is all gold that you are going and as a retail customer buying on the spot and paying for, right? And to my mind, regulation is most apt in situations where a product is either completely new, novel, and more importantly, not understood by customers, and hence where customers need the kind of guiding hand of regulation to help them navigate and understand that product, the nuances, the upside, the downside, all of that better. Now, there are already regulations and regulated products that exist when it comes to gold, EGR being one that was just mentioned in the previous session as well. But that's not what we're talking about over here. We're talking about all retail spot gold investment. And when it comes to that, it strikes me that this is the one product that Indian customers arguably know the best. And I would never want to dictate to the Indian customer that they don't know what gold is. It would be laughable to me to think that a country which literally has millennia worth of precedent, which has enshrined something like Stridhan as the actual wealth that a woman can hold, should then say that the retail gold that a customer buys has to be regulated because the Indian customer doesn't understand retail gold investment. I think that it is not a space that one needs a regulator to enter into, because the consumer is already so well informed. They may, depending on who you ask, people may know the ingredients of Maggi or Coke better than others, but that doesn't mean that we choose to introduce a new regulator for instant noodle products or for carbonated beverages, right? We exist within the realm of the safeguards and thresholds that have already been put in place. And to my mind, just to end on a small point, to my mind, not only is there no need for regulation, there is also a major negative consequence if we did introduce regulation for all retail investment gold products, which is that you would stifle all forms of innovation. In a market economy, innovation is really what helps to contribute and build a thriving economy. We talk very proudly about quick commerce today, about 10-minute deliveries, for better or for worse. But as a product that could not be innovated on, and that efficiency, that value could not be given to customers if you didn't have room to innovate. When it comes to micro savings, which is one of the most powerful use cases for retail gold investments today, the 10 rupee savings that someone is putting in through digital gold even, for example, by introducing regulation, you will cut that off simply by making it a product that adds too much of a burden on both the product provider as well as the customer to go through. For those who want regulated products, there already are regulated products. Why are we trying to expand that scope even more?
It's a valid point. Well explained. And I think just to add, the fact is regulation slows down delivery and also increases costs. So that is a question. Why do you need regulation?
Yeah. So first of all, thank you, Rhea. I think you've given me a lot more food for thought. Regulation, I think the definition from at least my view, is protecting the customer's interest. Why was hallmarking made compulsory last year after so many years of debate? Gold is populous. You don't need to hard sell gold to Indian consumers, but they were not aware how they were being cheated in purity. That is a regulation, and it's welcomed by the customers. Number two, which you mentioned, regulation is necessary with a new product, new product. So, example, digital gold. It is very new. People don't understand, and they don't know if the gold is lying protected in physical custody. I agree that innovation should not be stifled, but consumer protection is actually the most important thing where the government and the industry should work towards. And that is where I think regulation is required. Also, like say for example, digital gold versus EGR, there's nothing black and white. It's always a gray in between. We have to refine, evolve products. And the way I see a digital gold platform, EGR, coming together, EGR is stifling because most of consumers in India don't have demat accounts, they don't have access, right? They don't have access to ETFs. Digital gold is very good because it democratizes. As Rhea mentioned, with 10 rupees, you can buy a fraction of gold, which you can't think in the physical world. But at least the players can be regulated, wherein, okay, you sell it to whoever you want and give them the option of fractions, but ensure that at the back end, the physical gold is regulated and put in a vault where even if the player goes defunct, consumer protection in the gold remains. That is the key.
So yeah, it's a valid point. So what you're saying is maybe not regulated, but at least have some sort of certification or have some kind of some kind of safeguards to ensure that the consumer is taken care of. Just as you have, for example, in food or something, there should be some health check to make sure that people don't get impacted by bad players, right? So what do you think, Chirag?
Sunil, see here, there's one thing. So when it comes to our regulation, so these platforms are self-regulated, first of all, right? We don't expect to have a pressure that you are supposed to follow this. But if you see down the line any platform of digital gold, they have mentioned everywhere that the stock has been vaulted at X and Y place. Whether, in fact, I don't know about other platforms, but my platform, today, if you're owning a gold on DigiGold platform, if you put your ID, you can actually go to the vault and say, whether it be any logistic partner, you can say, कि भैया मेरा सोना कहाँ पड़ा है मेरे को देखना है. You go, it is purely transparent. Give your IDs, do all the formalities, and you can go and check the gold. Right? Now, where the regulation is needed, when there is a gray area. Here there is no gray area. We are providing a GST invoice, yes. We are not taking cash. No, we are not taking cash. We are taking all UPI payments, credit card payments, right? Everything a regulator wants is already there. Now, it is just about the thappa ki haan bhai hum regulated hain, right? So, who could be a regulator to this platform, right? We are going to, in fact, आज से एक साल पहले ऐसा था कि we were thinking कि let's get along and go to a regulator and say कि भैया we are trying to do this because it is more of a self-awareness. There is a new customer onto the platform, he doesn't know कि मेरा सोना किधर है, क्या होएगा, कैसे होएगा. They don't know. So there is a self-awareness program which we try to run. We try to give more details. We try to move more FAQs, wherein a simple doubts of a small investor can be cleared out. Now, at the same time, a regulated product, we already have a regulated product. ETF है, 3:30 बजे बंद हो जाएगा, रात को मार्केट कहाँ चला जाएगा पता नहीं है. You don't know whether you are able to cover your positions. You don't know whether you are able to sell or able to buy. So, in a nutshell, we are not regulated, but we are regulated. And I really don't think at this point of time, any platforms working in digital gold are having any kind of XYZ things. The only reason is everything is done by a custodian. There is an auditor. There is monthly or quarterly auditing happening of the books and everything, right? So even tomorrow, someone comes and tells us, we want to regulate you. We are open. Okay, fine, come, because we don't have anything to hide.
Yeah, I mean, that's a valid point. I think what Chirag and even Rhea earlier said is, you don't need regulation, you need education, right? If you educate the investor enough and you tell them about the risk factors and tell them what's going on, then they will choose, right? And they'll make sure bad actors don't benefit.
So here I'll counter just one example.
So
just one thing.
Sure.
I also have a digital gold platform. We are self-regulated. So then why not shy away from getting that regulation? Why? Because there are players. There can be cases. Why even give that chance? That's it. So like hallmarking I mentioned, lot of good jewelers, we all used to hallmark right from the beginning. BI's hallmark, right? There was resistance, same debate. But finally said, okay, we are anyways doing to get that thappa, but everybody else fall in line. That's the fine difference. Why not? If we're already doing it, what's the harm?
Regulation means it's not that, it's going to be kind of hardcore regulations, light touch regulations, just to make sure, because these are all retail level products. Small investors, small customers. It's from their perspective to make sure that, say, just to give an example, that digital gold, that the gold exists. If they want to redeem at whatever cost, that it exists. Those kind of regulations. And it is extremely important. Top 10 players probably will be adhering to those. But bottom 90, okay, out of if you take 100, who knows, right? And it's all retail level investments going on. Coming back to Chirag's point on the self-regulation part of it, which was very right. Yes, most of the top good digital gold players are self-regulated. They are kind of following the best practices. But as a self-regulation thing, World Gold Council have come up with a self-regulatory organization, and they are going to accredit the entire value chain, okay, for their best business practices, which will include these aspects of and obviously we are talking to the government as well that if they can have the accredit this organization to be a part of that. But having said that, we have already initiated that, which will be light touch, but to make sure that the consumer is protected. Second thing is on the delivery part, which you mentioned about delivery. Regulations sometimes can delay delivery, which is right. But if, taking the hallmarking example, they just everybody was adopted it so quickly. Yes, there were some debates and discussions and some, some questions and answers were raised, and there are. However, the industry adopted to the T very quickly, very quickly. So it's not. It depends on the kind of regulations which come in, which will enable the business. But the larger picture, if you say 2 years, 3 years down the line, okay, if we take example and cues from the equity markets, this will explode. This because I need not repeat. Everybody loves gold in India, right? We need not sell gold; it gets sold. So just imagine the size of the market which these products will have. If it is light touched regulated, it will really explode. It will. I mean, if we are talking about 7 to 10 tons now, it can easily go to 100 tons. Easily.
So if we are regulated, you will start sponsoring the marketing, right? We have started already for ETF.
I
So
just
want to vouch
I'm
for
having
it.
a check in my pocket.
We'd like you on record.
So I just want to vouch for it.
Ajit,
If you are
on
if you are
record,
ready,
on record.
we are ready, right?
I
So-
will support you on that.
Perfect. See.
So I have a
Let me
couple
just
of
say, the last word is with the lady. So after that, we'll have questions from the audience. Go ahead.
Sure. So I had a couple of points in response to what you both had said. Number one, we're not just talking about digital gold. And I just want to reiterate that because it's very easy to fall into the idea of this is one product. We can check some boxes. It's so simple. But that's not the debate topic. It's a much wider space. You're literally talking about every single piece of gold that is sold to a retail customer today. Which is too wide for any one regulation to cover as such. Secondly, there are already gold products that exist in the market today, have existed for many, many years, have huge, huge market caps and money going in which are not regulated. The jeweler schemes, for example, they fall within the existing company law rules, right? They didn't need a separate piece of regulation for it. Now, in the same way, there are already adequate regulations in place to protect physical gold, to ensure that the gold that is delivered to customers is the purity that it is stated to be, that the custodian is a reputable organization. In fact, the World Gold Council themselves have published principles which many organizations like ourselves follow, right? So there are enough ways where as an organization or as an industry, we can ensure that best practices are being followed and that each entity is self-governing, as Chirag was saying. But we do not need a regulator to come in just for that. Because once again, I'd like to emphasize that you cannot say that every single thing needs regulation. When you said that what is the harm, there is a great harm. The lack of innovation, the impact it will have on micro savings, the immediate switch to something going out of the formal market from digital and other existing banking channels into the informal market. Those are all very real situations and real harm that could come about. So we don't want to introduce something just for the sake of it. Certainly, if there was a need for something to be carved out where nothing exists, I absolutely agree, regulation could be introduced. But where different aspects are already being regulated, it is better for all of us, both the providers as well as the consumers, for the existing regulations to be enforced in a correct and timely manner, rather than introducing new regulations to cover everything.
Sunil, I
Thank
know
you.
last what you said. Just 2 points correcting, very short.
Okay.
The schemes which you mentioned got regulated in 2015's Companies Act. They had to change and declare all cash schemes illegal. So that was a change. There was a law, they had to change because there was rampant cash schemes going on, and then the industry complied to it. It all got converted into grammage schemes.
The only reason it was
Hallmarking.
let me tell you, only reason it came because there was no track and trace.
Agree. So
Right.
that is
The only
regulation
reason- the
from a
only
consumer
regulation
protection
came in
point
because
of
there is
view.
no track and trace.
And
Here,
the
there is a
debate is
complete
not
track and
about
trace.
That's
more
exactly the
regulation,
point.
less
That's exactly the
regulation.
point.
When the
That's exactly
regulation
the
is
point.
required, and you yourself, Rhea, said it is required. Don't introduce new.
No, I said-
you only said
I said-
existing is there, comply.
Okay,
I'm
so
sorry,
I think
please,
let's
I'm being misquoted here. I did not say it was required. I said it's already there. Why do we
See,
need
the only
anything
thing I think,
more?
I'll tell you.
Why do we
what
need
we are
anything
saying is,
more?
What we are saying is, because these are retail products, forget digital gold, jewelry, whatever it is, 1 gram, medallions or whatever, okay? Because it is retail level, small investors, their protection should be of paramount importance. Top 10 players, yes, they will be following all the best ethical practices. There will be some elements in the industry, and all industry have, it's not only our industry, right? That will, that's where the issue will come.
Isn't that an
Okay,
overly
so I think-
paternalistic
Enrolling
view?
your WGC program na.
Yeah, isn't that an
I will
overly
enroll you. Let the
paternalistic view
audience-
let the audience speak,
on the
please.
consumer?
Let the audience-
Why can't we educate
We've run out
our
of time.
consumers better?
We've run out of time. We'll have polling, we'll have questions also.
So the
Go ahead.
audience has spoken already, sir. Let's have a look. So, all right, I think regulations and compliances is something that the audience is
Everyone
also
wants.
looking forward to.
Any questions, anything, any comments?
See, my point is that no industry wants regulation. Everybody wants freedom. But that's not how economy works. So even though DigiGold, so we also have a DigiGold product. We are also self-regulated. We are also extremely cautious to be on the right side. But I strongly feel that regulations has to be there. We know a company called Sahara. They launched the product. And since there was no regulation, they were all hand in glove with the regulators, and they failed miserably. So while I'm not comparing Sahara here, it is in the interest of this industry, if there is any 1 or 2 failure, entire DigiGold platform will be in a bad name. And even though we try our best, but where the failure will happen, we don't know. So regulation must be there. We know about Companies Act, that is for the golden harvest. Harvest, or we call it SY. But all the advances which we collect, marigold, fixed gold, flexi plan, soap, all these plans which we are doing, there is no regulation. At least there should be a self-regulation, and it can be done under the aegis of industry body, but the regulator has to be there. Otherwise, this self-regulation will become a farce one day.
Thank you, Mangal.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. That's it.